Hello and welcome to Anime Animosity, the Isekai genre. It started off oh so simply. Some people, probably kids, get transported to another world with the primary goal of returning home. Or, in some cases, they can come and go as they please. Though now the genre is full of self-serving power fantasy trash with plain blank slate self-insert MCs and single tropes trying to pass off as actual characters. Oh, but don't get me wrong, there are some good ones out there among the wasteland of the Isekai. But how did we get from where we started to where we are now? What's the missing link? Where did it all go so very, very wrong? Actually, scratch that last point. It went wrong somewhere else down the line. The missing piece to the Isekai puzzle just so happened to finish airing last season. Mushoku Tensei. Being heralded as the grandfather, or father, of modern Isekai, you'd expect Mushoku Tensei to be a trope-filled mess that serves next to no purpose than to give some sort of self-gratification to those of us lowlives that watch it. You know, make us feel better about ourselves. That we could, be cool and popular with the ladies, like generic black-haired MC-kun that we've seen so many times. I'm running that joke too far. Let's cut it there. Well, you'll get some of that. But Rudius Greyrat, the quote-unquote hero, I use that word somewhat lightly, of a story is far from the self-inserts we've grown accustomed to over the past decade or so. Once a 30-some-year-old hikikomori who did nothing with a surplus of free time other than watch anime, play Guilty Gear, jack off the hentai, and wait, slow down. I feel like I'm being forced to project onto him at this point. Some of that hit way too close to home. Well, anyway, with that, and looking like he came fresh off the UV printing press, he's trash. A scumbag. Other derogatory terms. You get the gist. And after getting kicked out of his house, he goes on a nice, depressing walk in the rain, tries to help some teens, and oh shit, that's a truck! Damn, this was Truck-kun back in his trainee days. Bam! Dead. The end. Or not, as our poor fat boy gets reincarnated as a newborn child in a fantasy land. And what are his first thoughts? To do nothing other than admire his mother's fat rack. He at least has some good taste. So, we have a child who is mentally 30. And who wouldn't take advantage of being able to get away with next to anything, because, you're a child. You're expected to do dumb shit. Give it a few years and BAM! Magic. Just a little bit longer, BAM! Child grooming. That last one doesn't sound so great, does it? I don't know what the law has to say about a physically 5, mentally 30-year-old guy when it comes to raising other children, and sometimes not other children, to be his perfect wives, but you get the point. Rudy is a bit of a piece of shit. He is not an all-round good guy. He hasn't miraculously become a new and better person. He's still himself. But he does grow and begin to break free from the shackles that held him down in his old life. And to be honest, the scene of him finally leaving the grounds of his house is really fucking powerful. But Rudy isn't the only scumbag in this show. Hell, just look at his ex-harem protector dad who just can't keep it in his pants. His mum who can't keep it out of her pants and's very loud about it. A maid who also can't keep it out of her pants but's a bit quiet about it. And it's his uncle, right? Who reminds Rudy, at this point, a fucking 9-year-old, to use protection. Oh yeah, there's some political shit happens, but I'll leave spoilers out of this. Yeah. So, in short, the Greyrat family and its staff, how do we put this? They're all horny on main. Then you have the girls. You have our green and sweet childhood friend Sylphie, a blue and quiet yet very horny magic teacher that's actually relatively young, Roxy, and my personal favourite, the red and violently loud tsundere, Eris, that's also kind of like Rudy's cousin, but this is Fantasyland, so yeah, incest's okay, I guess. Honestly, the whole cast of Mushoku Tensei is wonderfully bubbly and full of life. But that wouldn't matter if the world didn't feel equally as alive or developed as those who inhabit it. I'll tell you this, the world does not fall short. Containing multiple continents, a plethora of races and languages for the main ones like humans, demons, and beasts. It doesn't even stop there. And on top of that, you have the magic, which, on the surface, appears rather simple. Read incantation, cast spell, and look, you're a wizard. Except your name's not Harry, because this is Fantasyland. No English names here. Well, it's not actually that simple, but it basically is. The magic of Mushoku Tensei is broken up into different tiers, starting with basic mana manipulation at beginner, all the way to continental magic at divine. And, as you can imagine, there are multiple types of magic, ranging from your standard combat magic and healing magic, which we've seen in all sorts of fantasy media so far, to summoning and unique magic. On top of this, spells can be combined to create different effects, like a makeshift magic hairdryer, for example. It's pretty neat. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on some of that. Oh, and you know how I said that you can cast magic? You had to say this incantation? Well, that's true. It's not the only way to cast spells, though. It is the primary and most common, as in basically nobody can cast magic without some sort of incantation, be it the short or full version, but like a main character, if you can visualize strongly, you can cast it your own. That's a nice little point as well. Our main character isn't special. He isn't gifted with immense magical talent. Yes, well, he's talented, but he's not unique, as I said. How many times am I going to say the same thing? Jesus Christ. He's not the only one that can do incantationless, that's a word, spells. It's refreshing to see someone that isn't blatantly OP, even if he is a little bit strong. But enough of that. While the world and characters would be wonderful, does the plot hold up? Is it interesting and engaging? Or is it just mindless Isekai BS for the sake of wish fulfillment and fan service? The answer to that should be glaringly obvious if you've been paying attention. Or, if what I've said was enough for you to stop watching this video, then take the show for a ride. See it for yourself. But in case you aren't sure, I'll make one thing clear. Mushoku Tensei is an Isekai that isn't an Isekai because Isekai sells well. It's an Isekai with a purpose. I should get an Isekai counter. Future me, when you're editing this, put that in. It has a message. It's a slow burner. Not a whole lot happens initially, but in all honesty, not much has to get you invested. Because the little things add up and add more colour to this beautiful world our story is set in, and gives us insight to how real it all is. Like how Rudy nearly dies, gets saved, to no one's shock, I'm sure, but then it hits you. Just like the newly headless body lands in front of Rudy. And what does he do? What does this 30-year-old man in the body of a 12-year-old, 10-year-old at this point, he's 10. My bad. Well, he just sits there and says nothing. No whimsical, over-the-top reaction. No internal monologue. Just silence. As those around him act like nothing has happened. Telling us that death is a day-to-day occurrence, even for slightly violent 12-year-old girls. Jesus Christ. But aside from immersing us in the world through character interactions and small moments, Mushoku Tensei is a story about a second chance. A story telling us that no matter how old you are, or where you are in life, we all have the ability to change ourselves for the better, to grow, and become who we want to be, not who others or our mistakes earlier in life have made us into. Now, I'm no producer or director, so I can't say too much other than, wow, don't it look damn good? Which it does. And yo, the soundtrack kinda hits hard, bro, which it does. And those fight scenes are fucking dope, which they are. But I can tell you that Mushoku Tensei has something special. A dedicated studio that cares a whole hell of a lot. And you can feel that. Speaking of that studio, let me introduce you to Studio Bind, a brand new studio that was put together basically for the sole purpose of making this show to adapt this story that they clearly love. Studio Bind was made up of members of White Fox. There's a bit of information for you. I shoehorned that in really badly. Wow. The only worrying thing with this wholehearted devotion from Bind is that I'm uncertain how far they'll be able to go. How long they'll be able to keep adapting the story. There's so much more to say. And so, I leave you with this. Give Mushoku Tensei a fair shot. Because it deserves it. It deserves it so much. It deserves recognition. And I, personally, want to see everything that it has to offer. There'll be a link to go watch Mushoku Tensei legally over on Funimation in the description below, if I remember. So seriously, go give Mushoku Tensei a go. Give it the love and support that I, and many others, believe it deserves. So that we can hopefully see more of it past the second core later this year. I've been Animosity, you've been you, and I hope to catch you all next time for another video. Ta-ta for now.